Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome to the fourth edition of Coronavirus and Independent Retail Community Forum. This is your chance to ask Susan and I any questions that you have, to share your best ideas, to show each other support. You know, it's just a place for us to come together. We're living in crazy times, and crazy times call for community. And that's what this is all about. This is all about us, a community of progressive, growth-minded, small to mid-sized, brick-and-mortar independent retailers. That was a mouthful, wasn't it?
Yeah, very good. Good job, honey.
So if you have questions, of course, Susan is here manning the chat. But so if you have questions, or if you have something that you want to share, I'm going to start with a couple of great ideas that were shared by a Platinum Mastermind group member who generously said, of course you can share them with everyone. But if you have an idea that you want to share, something that's working for you now, by all means, put it in chat. We'll take care of it. We'll try our best to get to it. So yesterday, the first thing I want to say is I mentioned it this morning in the podcast, and I hope that you're either joining us or watching the podcast as a replay here on Facebook or subscribing to the podcast on your favorite platform. But this morning I shared I'm feeling like people are starting to move forward. It's been 3 weeks now. It's the middle of the fourth week, at least for us in shelter in place. But the whole world was the analogy I used, the metaphor I used was being caught in a wave. And when you're first caught in a wave, you're spinning upside down and everything's a little crazy. But then once you get out of the wave, it starts to be a little more calm, and you get your directions, you find out where the shore is, and you start to swim towards the shore. And that's what we feel in the community and in our weekly calls with the Platinum Mastermind group. It's just sort of the feeling that we're getting. That may not be the case with you. We know that some of you are in areas and in verticals where you're actually busier than ever. Sales are way up. So businesses are all over the board as far as performance, as far as access, as far as being able to bring people in. But anyway.
But we know that all of you are affected, and this is difficult for everybody, regardless of what your individual circumstances are. So
that's correct. So what I wanted to share with is Laura Alakadin from Sweet Boutique in St. Albert's, Edmonton, did something that I thought was really awesome. And she had a virtual pop-up shop. And, way back when in the very first report that we did 4 weeks ago, it seems like a year ago, doesn't it? One of the things that we said is it's going to be hard to find merchandise, so find local artisans or local manufacturers that you can get merchandise from, right? We were concerned that supply chains from China were going to be disrupted, and we encourage you to start looking more locally. And that's what Laura did. So she found several manufacturers in Edmonton. St. Albert's is a suburb of Edmonton. And she did a virtual pop-up shop. She did a Facebook Live. And, she showed off the merchandise from these manufacturers. And people bought them on the Facebook Live. And then they did, curbside pickup. So it was a wonderful way of doing something different, helping local manufacturers and artisans, and making some money. And she did a 60-40 split. She got 40, they got 60, but she didn't have to invest a dime in it. And again, when you do something like this, she put a lot of deposits into the emotional bank account with these vendors, right? One of the things that we have to keep coming back to is this idea of the more good work you do now, the more goodwill you're generating, and the more you're going to get back when this is done. So she said that, it's a great idea, and we thought we'd share it with you because we know that a lot of you, do sell merchandise from local artisans. And this is a good way to support them and do something different. And go ahead.
No, so just a couple of details about Laura's event that I thought made it really special and a little different. Laura has a women's boutique. It's called Sweet Boutique. And the pop-up shop that she did featured girls' dresses from a local manufacturer. Like you talked, it was a local manufacturer. But the point I want to make is she doesn't normally carry girls' dresses. But she knows that Easter's coming up, and even though nobody's going to be going to church on Easter probably, people still want a new spring dress for their little girl. So, but this manufacturer had all these dresses left over because they couldn't sell to their normal shops. So my point was that it's something Laura doesn't normally sell. All right, so that she expanded her assortment mix, went outside of her normal mix to do this pop-up shop. You may be able to do the same thing too. So not just the normal vendors that you normally sell from who are local, but other people who help out somebody local who's got stuff that you don't normally sell.
That's right. Yeah, no, right? Absolutely.
So that's something a little different. The other thing that I thought was really cool about what Laura did, and I put the link in the chat.
You're gonna love this,
so you can see it. But so what her pop-up shop was little girls' dresses. Well, she needed some models, and she couldn't have models because you can't bring in little girls from the outside. She happens to have a whole bunch of little boys at her house, at her own house. She has a couple of young sons, 3 of them to be exact. And so she persuaded them, I don't know how.
There had to be money in there someplace.
But she persuaded her little sons, to model the little girls' dresses for her. And it's hilarious. So Laura is very experienced Facebook Live personality. So she's really experienced with this, but take a look at what she did. So not only was she doing something really fantastic to help a local vendor to drive cash flow into her business, it was also just entertaining as heck. It's hilarious. So go check out that, not right now, because we want you to listen to us. You can go back and open up that link and save it for later, because it's really fun. It's super entertaining, as well as being a great way to generate sales.
Yes.
So just a couple of points.
And so I would also encourage you to follow Laura on Facebook, because she really kind of is the master at Facebook Lives. In fact, before we even knew Laura, we started hearing rumors about what she did with Facebook Live. And the first time I watched one of her Facebook Lives, I thought, we've got to get that woman into the Platinum Mastermind group, because she just has that kind of really, really energetic, creative energy around her Facebook Lives. She would on Friday nights crack a bottle of Prosecco and basically walk around the store,
have a cocktail and take a tour of what's new in the store this week.
And, she's a little body. And last year at the Retail Success Summit, we have every year at the summit, we have a Platinum Mastermind group panel where people from the Platinum Mastermind group get up and share, sort of their best promotions. And they always have birthday parties around their employees. So it was one of her employees' 69th birthday. So again, this isn't for everyone, but it was totally appropriate to Laura. And so they had a 69th birthday, and they had a male stripper come in, and it was just really, really bawdy, but it fit in with her brand and her personality.
Yeah, really fun.
And everybody at the summit was like, wow. Most people were going, I could never do that, but good for you for doing that. So great.
So, and do keep your eye on Laura's page. I recommend that you follow her. She's about to do, I'm not going to give the secret away.
Don't give it away.
I'm not going to give the secret away. But if you've been watching The Tiger King on Netflix, and who hasn't, because everybody's stuck at home. But if you've been watching The Tiger King on Netflix, you are going to want to keep your eye on Laura's page and see what she's got coming next. So that's all I'm going to say. Not going to give away the surprise. So, Really good. So we've got a lot of people chiming in and saying hi. And Stephanie says she loves this idea. Wanted to go back up here to Joan, and
I'm not supposed to look over like this.
Right. I'm gonna read it. You can focus with our friends out there in Facebook land.
Hello, friends.
Joan says, I started my positive communication campaign for my fans. It's going to get better. That's her campaign.
Oh,
it's
okay.
It's going to get better. And she's using a bounce back surge sale. So I thought that was a bounce back surge sale. We were talking a little bit about this morning, Bob, you and I, about doing bounce back coupons in your any shipping or curbside pickup or anything that you're doing right now. How can you put a bounce back coupon in it to get people coming back into your store after it's over?
I love that.
On the other side.
So let's explain for people who don't know. One of the marketing things that we teach a lot of people teach. It's not our idea, but this whole idea of Blizzard Bucks. And a Blizzard Bucks is a bounce back coupon or gift certificate that you give away in December when you have a lot of traffic. And then the Blizzard Bucks are good to be used in January and February. So what you're doing is you're taking the traffic you have at a busy time, the holiday seasons, and you're using it to create traffic during the slow times. So, but this idea of a surge sale and the understanding that people will be able to get back into your store is the perfect idea. So any curbside pickup, anytime people spend money, you give them a certificate that can be used at a later date. In this case, when the store is open, if you can come in. Yes. So
or even
that's a great idea. Love it. Thank you.
Depending on what kind of store you have, you could do it not even for when it's first open, because there probably will be this surge.
Right.
You could do it for July.
Right.
Depending on what kind of goods you have. So
it's a great idea, though. Thank you. Keep the good ideas coming. Otherwise, you just got to listen to me ramble on and on and on.
Somebody just messaged and asked a question, and I don't remember who it was, but they said, can we please have the link to Laura's Facebook page? And I just popped it in the comments there for you. So
great.
You can go and follow her. She's doing, and I know there's lots and lots of you doing amazing stuff on Facebook Live. And if you want to share one of your own Facebook Live videos, put a link in the comments so people can see what you're doing. If you had a particularly great Facebook Live idea or event or a show that worked really, really well, pop it in the comments so we can all learn.
One of my favorite things, I don't remember the name, I apologize, but someone put all the lessons they learned. They had no online presence and they got a website up in a week. Good for you. But they shared all the lessons they learned while they were building a website and actually getting an e-commerce store up, running, working well in a week. But then they went in and posted all the lessons that they learned. And it's that type of generosity that really, really fuels this community. Whiz Bang retailers and all this entire Whiz Bang community. So thank you for that. And that's the sort of thing that we all love to see.
This is a great idea. This is from our Whiz Bang certified coach, Gilbert Russell.
Hi, Gilbert.
He's in Ottawa. And he said, we donated 30 of our outdoor advertising spots. So billboards, I don't know, Gilbert, what kind of outdoor advertising do you do? Is it like they're in a city? So maybe it's like bus stops, or let us know a little bit more. But he's donated 30 of his outdoor advertising spots for 6 weeks to 3 different charities who are doing fundraising for first responders and medical personnel.
Perfect.
So I think that's a great idea.
And so let's go back to, this morning on the podcast, I started right now, I think it's time for all of us to move past the craziness and move into preparation and anticipation of coming out on the other end. And gestures like Gilbert's, it's his whole idea of givers get. People remember when you do things like that. I have been so impressed by the number of quilt stores and sewing centers that are doing things to build face masks for people. And all of this stuff, this all gets remembered. But here's something that I want to suggest.
Gilbert says it's bike rack posters.
Oh, bike rack posters.
Yeah, really
great.
nice.
Wonderful, Gilbert. That's just absolutely great. But one of the things that, so there's giving and givers get, but then there's strategic giving. And Adam Grant talks a lot about this in his book, Give and Take, a book I strongly recommend. But so yesterday on a Platinum Mastermind group call, one of our quilt stores is selling materials for their groups are building masks to be given away. And so this is a wonderful gesture. But what I said to Stacy is, let's take that wonderful gesture and make it even more powerful for you by sending a press release. Right? So when you do something like this, if you're coordinating it with a local nonprofit or a group that needs it, when you send a press release, people know about it. It's great to do things for the spirit of doing things, but in the end of the day, we want people to know about the things that we're doing because that's how it's going to benefit us in the long run. And that is not being mercenary. That's just being a good business person. Doing the right thing, but making sure everybody knows that you're doing the right thing so that they can reciprocate and do good things for you because you did the right thing.
You know, and when people see you doing great things for your community, it's going to inspire them to do great things for your community too. So we always like to talk about this upward spiral of prosperity, and again, it just contributes to that. So a lot of people doing really, really great things. Joan just said she donated a family of sewing machines to Angels of Mercy, people sewing masks. I think that's fantastic.
But then, but that's a perfect opportunity for a press release.
A press release. Kathy Campbell is doing 10% when somebody buys the Be Kind t-shirts. Mm-hmm. You know those. So if she buys that special t-shirt, she's donating 10% to the local food bank.
Beautiful.
Another great reason to do a press release.
Yep.
Excellent.
I read somebody was, I don't remember what it was, but somebody was basically doing a whiz-bang cause marketing promotion, and then they were taking some of the money and they were using it to buy food and coffee for first responders. Yeah. In fact, that's what it was going to be today's podcast, but I think I'm going to use it tomorrow. But it's this whole idea of ask yourself, what are the needs in my community? What does my community need? Particularly, what does my community need that I am positioned to help with? And then find a way to fill that need. The examples I use, I don't want to get ahead of my podcast here. But,
we get a sneak peek at tomorrow's podcast.
So if you have a toy store, so what are the needs? So how can you meet the needs in your community if you have a toy store? Well, childcare workers probably need more games and puzzles. Ask yourself, what can I do? Where can I help? Especially where can I help? That's sewing and quilting, masks. So just look for needs in your community. This is where we as independent retailers really get a chance to shine.
Yeah, keep going. I'm replying to something.
Okay.
Are you done? Are you out of words? It's impossible.
You're putting me on the spot here, honey.
Lots and lots of people doing great things. Nikki says, has anyone thought about or done a coupon or some sort of discount, a raffle on a basket for essential workers? And what I was just looking up was Mark Turnbull did something. He's one of our Platinum Mastermind group members. And he's a fourth generation butcher shop and gourmet food shop. And by the way, it's like he's got this huge 50,000 square foot food hall. He's not like, two guys and a cow. Like it's an amazing.
I don't think
huge
that's how
business.
butcher shops work.
Whatever.
Two guys in a cow. Oh, you want some meat here?
Anyway,
Come over here, Bessie.
my point is, it's like a big gourmet food grocery store, food hall.
And
food hall.
Yeah.
So one of the things that he's just done, which I think is really brilliant, is he's having his customers nominate a first responder, a medic, a doctor, someone in their community who's helping get through this virus situation for a food basket.
Yeah.
And then they're giving them the food
Yeah.
baskets. So I'm gonna find that video where he does that, Nikki, and I'm gonna post it up for you. So
And
you
I'll
can
share
see it.
one more example of this. Maureen Doran. Many of you listened to the interview I did with Maureen on her clienteling program. It is on our binge watch page, coronavirus, whizbangtraining.com/coronavirus. And by the way, if you haven't listened to that interview, you really, really, really should. I think that clienteling, the way that Maureen does it, is one of the ways that the best retailers are going to start doing business when this is all over. It really, really puts the personal into personal shopping. But so Maureen has all this inventory and, it's seasonal inventory. She is a luxury women's fashion. She has 3 stores. And so what she's doing is she's buying a box. So, I mean, she is in the teeth of the coronavirus, and people cannot come into her store. Only her employees can come in, only one employee at a time. I mean, they are really kind of locked down. But when they come in, they're building boxes, and then they send out these boxes filled with fashions and fine clothing and things like that. But what Maureen is doing is if you buy a box, you get to give a box. So if you buy a box filled with beautiful clothes, you get to choose a hero, whether that hero is a nurse or a doctor or an ambulance driver or a retail food worker, but you get to choose a hero. So
Or a hospital administrator or whoever.
So you get to choose the hero. So, but just imagine, so you're a nurse and you're in the teeth of it and you're working hard and you're trying to save lives and man, oh man, those people are putting their lives on the line for us, and then you get home one day and there's a box filled with beautiful clothes and a thank you note saying, Susan just really wanted to let you know that she appreciates what you're doing.
Pretty cool.
Right? It's a really, really cool thing. So, and that's a way better way to move merchandise than putting it on sale. So it's just another example of being creative. This is what we need to do right now, is be creative. And the other thing that I absolutely love about what's happening right now is the creativity that you're being forced into right now is going to stay with you when you're done. These crises always change the way that you think. Oliver Wendell Holmes said, a mind once stretched will never return to its original size. And that's what's happening to all of us right now.
Yeah. A lot of people are doing amazing things. Let's see here. Angie just says, we are doing a nominate our local hero. The winner gets a $50 WOW gift card and is featured in our Facebook page. We've had a nurse, a doctor, and a Publix clerk. I love it.
That's right.
Perfect. I think that's really
Great.
I think that's really fun. Cherise says we've been sending out $50, $25 gift cards to healthcare workers after asking customers for suggested names.
Perfect.
I think that's a great idea. Lots and lots of wonderful, wonderful ideas. Vicky Seebeck says, at a manager of a local restaurant told me that their Corona beer sales were down 30%. Hilarious. And so she said that her idea for was a promotion, $40 carry-out purchase, free 6-pack of Corona.
There you go, because Corona has suspended production.
Yeah.
So soon you won't be able to buy Corona. So that makes it even more valuable.
Summer just says, great idea for shoe stores that carry brands like Dansko or Sanita that are really popular with nurses. They're standing on their feet all day and they wear those those shoes. So
Right.
That's a great idea.
But you know, let's go back to this whole thing of this is an opportunity for you to really, really show the value that you have to your community. You know, 2 months ago, Amazon was the big giant, you know, competition, was the gorilla in the room. Well, guess what? Amazon is not helping the community right now. Yeah, I mean, I get it that they're sending some essential services and things like that, but Amazon does not have the opportunity that you have right now to to serve your community.
You've got the face, too.
Heart of service.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other thing that I love that I'm seeing is that communities are responding too, right? Mm-hmm. Communities are supporting you. This is really, I mean, I am so hopeful and optimistic and actually confident that when this is done, independent retailers, we are going to be positioned better than ever. Yes, we're taking it on the chin right now. Yes, there's some body blows right now. Yes, there are going to be some people who choose not to reopen. I get that. But you know what? Those of us who are there when this is done are going to be in a better position than we've ever been in before. So now's the time to start thinking about what is truly my heart of service? What can I give to my community that will make people notice? I mean, of course you want to do it for the sake of doing it because it's the right thing. That's giving. But I'm encouraging you to recognize that strategic giving as a business person is even more valuable. So keep asking yourself, where are the needs? How can I meet the needs? How can I publicize the fact that I'm meeting the needs?
Yeah, I think that's really, really great. You guys have had some amazing, great ideas, some great promotions that you're running. I love that a couple of you have been popping in the URLs for your own Facebook Live events that you've been doing so that we can see and learn. And you know, the other thing that I love about sharing these Facebook Live event links is it kind of takes the fear away because everybody's look the same. They're a little wobbly and it's just you and you know, you're just up there doing your thing. You're all very authentic. And that does not take away from you or your store. It is actually really, it's really endearing, and it's really what creates that relationship between your viewer, your customer, and you. You know, Bob makes mistakes. He says crazy words.
Don't believe it.
It's just, I mean, as people, we're all just humans. We're all just trying to get through this together. So. Interesting. I had a friend on a mastermind group that I belong to say, I've got a client who's an optometrist and they're trying to figure out how to connect with their customers. And this guy in my group said that, you know, he thought they should be doing some tip videos like how to put your contacts in without touching your face, or you know, different kinds of things like that. And I thought all those were great ideas. You know, how to keep your kids' eyes safe when they're, you know, having so much screen time and stuff like that. But good.
How to keep my eyes.
good, really like optometry-centered tips. Great ideas. But I said, you know, really, people are bored and they're lonely. A lot of people are bored and they're lonely. And so ask your optometrist client to do a bunch of fun stuff, like do a fashion show with the latest spring frames and use your family as the you know, the models.
Laura like dressing Laura, up her little boys as little
dresses,
girls,
right? You know,
there better be a college fund in them for that.
You know, or maybe they could connect with a local boutique, and boutiques try to connect with your local optometrist and do a fashion show. Summer fashion look, new summer sunglass, you know, fashion show. I said, make the video of each person separately, put it together, run it as a watch party. All kinds of different fun things. So like even for something...
I had an idea.
What?
I'm going to finish up.
Okay, so like even for something like and I, you know, I gave him a whole bunch of different ideas, but like even for something as seemingly scientific and like, you know, as an optometrist, you can come up with some really fun things. So, like, what, like Laura's pop-up shop, or, what are some of the great fun things that you guys have been doing, just to be authentic and real with your customers? All right, what's your great idea?
I'm gonna share a couple things first. First of all, we are more and more. I say we. I mean us independent retailers, and Susan and I. We consider ourselves independent retailers, even though we don't have a store right now. We are more and more being in the business of being ourselves. The people who are the most authentic are the people who are going to win. You don't have to be the prettiest. You don't have to be the most articulate. You don't have to be the funniest. You just have to be the most authentic. People are going to respond to authenticity in a way that they never have before. This whole pandemic is really bringing people back inside to themselves and making them realize what's important. So if you can just be authentic, good things are going to happen. But the other thing that I was going to share, and we've talked about this a lot, but I'm going to mention it again. When we talk about Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives or this sort of live social media, remember there's two different tracks. One track is entertainment, distraction, fun, all the things that Susan was talking about, and the other is social selling. And if all you're doing is social selling, I think you're missing a lot of opportunities. So you can soft sell when you're in the entertainment track. By the way, so let's go back to the optometrist doing the fashion show. Oh, by the way, and we do have 3 pairs of these in stock right now.
Yeah,
so
sure.
The purpose is entertainment, but we call them oh, by the ways. And oh, by the way is a very soft, suggestive sell at the end, which is different than a social selling where you're really, would you like this whiz bang cup? It's only $19.99 and $7 shipping and handling. But so they're different tracks, but
do both.
And the one track, the entertainment track, really builds the emotional bank account in a much more significant way than social selling. You can build the emotional bank account, make your customers feel good about you with social selling, but it's just not it's much easier when you're not doing the hard sell with it. So here's my idea.
Let's hear it.
A downtown could have a social selling live event. Doesn't even have to be social selling. So imagine this. I'm thinking of downtown Grand Haven.
Okay.
So I'm just going to come up with 4 merchants.
Cholet is on.
So I was going to use Cholet.
And Kelly Larson is on.
Okay, so we have Cholet and Kelly Larson and
your brother Steve.
My brother Steve. So we have 3 stores that are all like basically right across the street from each other. So we could make this with 10. We could make this with as many as we wanted to. But each of them would have a half-hour Facebook Live. But then you position it, you promote it. All of you promote it to your audiences.
To each other.
To each
other's live to your audience.
Right.
Am I with you?
Yes. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a downtown Grand Haven Facebook Live event. And every participating merchant is going to get a half hour. And all of you are going to promote this event, not their event. Steve's not going to promote his half hour. He's going to promote the entire 3-hour event to his entire community. Cholet's going to promote her 3-hour. Everybody's going to promote the whole, we're going to call it a summit for lack of a better term. What would that be? It's not really a summit.
It's a shopping extravaganza.
A shopping extravaganza.
I just made that up.
But so the schedule gets posted. Everybody really works on communicating it clearly. And so Steve's first up. And so Steve talks about his toys. He talks about his games. He tells people if they'd like to order them that they can go online and buy it. They can call on the phone. But Steve has a half hour. At the end of 25 minutes, Steve starts talking about the fact that he's going to hand it off to Kelly. And so he has a sign and it says, "Here is Kelly's Facebook." I'm assuming it's Facebook Live.
Tina says, call it a virtual sidewalk sale.
A virtual sidewalk sale. Tina! If
You
we had
win. You're the
shipping, I'd
winner.
ship you this. But you see what we're doing? So there's a handoff.
Cholet says, I'm in.
Yeah, there you go. Good. But you see, this is the way that as a community, people get to support the whole community. And I don't know, it's something to think about. If you choose to do it, let me know. I'd love to hear how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun idea, and I love the idea like you're throwing it. You're throwing it to the next person.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like on the newscast, right? You've got the main newscaster, and then they throw to the guy in the field, and then they throw to the next reporter on the next story.
Right.
So I love that.
Good.
I think that's really super, super fun. So good, fun. Cherie says, we suggested to our downtown administrator that we put together something like a basket, and she said people were too freaked out to deal with that and people promoting themselves.
All right, let me talk to that, Cherie. Never go to a governmental agency and expect to get anything done. I'm serious.
You can do it yourself. You don't need
That's
your
exactly
downtown
right.
people. I mean, they're great for a lot of things.
They are, absolutely. And I don't mean to slam. I apologize if I offended anybody there, because we have a lot of great chamber members.
We do, and a lot of
yeah.
them do a great job. But you don't have to have them do it. You can do it yourself.
But here's the problem. So we've all talked about gift certificate partnerships where different merchants get together and all of you put gift certificates into
like a little booklet?
into a little booklet that you share. And thank you, Joe. Okay. And and then you share them between themselves, right? So basically you're sharing customers. But whenever I do that, whenever I suggest that, my other piece of advice is don't do it through the Chamber of Commerce. Don't do it through your local downtown development agency or your BIA, because when you do that, it's their job to make it, to include everybody and to make it right and to make it go. If you want to curate the people who you're working with, if you want to make it really, really good, you want to work with like-minded merchants who you know are going to do things the way that you want them done. And a chamber director, by nature of their job, has to do things differently than you can do it if you're driving it on your own.
Yeah. Summer just says she loves her downtown organization. She's even on the board.
Okay.
But she knows that if she needs to get something done like today, she's got to do it herself.
That was my point. I didn't mean to badmouth chambers and so
Exactly. So good. But I think it's a great idea. Super fun. Kelly Cholet's ready to do it whenever you are. Good. All right. Fun. So we've had a lot of really, really cool, great, fun ideas. No questions so far for us. So I'm going to throw it out there to you guys. Do you have any questions for us about anything? So let us know.
I
hopefully...
saw a question near the top about...
Really? Did I miss one? Well,
Yes.
you're supposed to be looking. Stop it.
Oh, I just saw that sense here. All right.
Yeah, Clay's on.
Hi, Clay. How you doing?
Yeah, great.
Clay and his partner Patrick were part of the Business Breakthrough Accelerator
From Ascent
program a couple of
Bicycles?
years ago.
Yep. I'm looking. You
Okay.
talk.
All right.
I'm looking for.
But I'm going to go back to, as long as I'm killing time, while Susan's looking for questions.
Not killing time. You're delivering amazing ideas.
There you go. Thank you, dear. And Joe's making funny faces at me too. But, I'm just really, really, really excited about the opportunities that are starting to emerge. I just really believe that all of these things that you're learning to do now that you never would have done if you hadn't needed to do them are going to be part of the way that you do business in the future. Those of you who are doing Facebook Lives, marketing has always been about driving people into your store. Now what we're learning is that marketing is doing more. It's about going and meeting them where they are. Clienteling is about meeting them where they are. So what this pandemic has forced us to do is it's forced us to be smarter and wiser and more daring, and it's getting us out of our box. And then what I really hope happens is that when this is done, you continue to do the thing. So if you're doing a half-hour Facebook Live show, entertainment piece every week. When this is done and your store opens up, don't stop doing it. Keep doing it. It becomes part of your marketing mix. So I'm just really excited in the Platinum Mastermind group. When I was very insistent that all members listen to the interview with Maureen, and a couple of them were like, "Oh my gosh, I had heard of the concept before. I understood what it was, but now that I'm forced to be more creative, and now that I hear what Maureen is actually doing, I see why this could be an incredibly important part of my business in the future." So it's this whole idea of you're finding new things. Make sure that when this is done, you continue to do those new things. And this, just keep doing it. Keep getting better at it all the time.
I'm going to post, you guys, a link to Kelly's store, Fortino's. She said that she's been getting great response with her. She's done a couple of posts recently that one was a post about quarantine boxes. So Kelly has a gourmet food store and she sells liquor and and candies and all kinds of great things. But they did quarantine boxes. So if you scroll, I'm going to post in just a second, but if you scroll down, you'll see a great post that they did about quarantine boxes. And last time I was in and I talked to her manager, she had they had shipped, I think, over 20 that day. These little quarantine rescue boxes. And now she's doing Easter baskets, and she's collaborated with her next door neighbor, the Mackinac Kite Company, to put a toy inside the Easter basket with the candy from Fortino's and the toy from Mackinac Kite Company. So really great idea. So I'll post her page right here for you right now.
Absolutely love it.
So you can look at her Facebook page and check out those posts that she's been doing. All right. Let's see here. We've got a couple of questions now. Got to get back here. Samantha's question is, should we start reordering our inventory right now?
Oh, that's a great question.
It is a great question.
That no one has an answer to.
Well, we don't have an exact answer to it.
But so here's what I would say is, highly seasonal stuff, I would be very, very hesitant about. Fashion, I would be very hesitant about. Bestsellers, staples, absolutely. We were talking about that. If you sell, if you'd sell bug spray and things like that, people are still going to need bug spray. They're still going to need suntan lotion. They're still going to need towels. I don't know what, whatever your merchandise mix is. But what I would do is I would be very, very careful about the fringe items, and I would focus mostly on bestsellers, perennial bestsellers. Make sure you have those things in stock.
Basics and consumables, yeah, to your point. So, but yeah, I think definitely it's we in our conversation with our Platinum Mastermind group, with our certified coaches now, a lot of folks are now starting just this week to start reordering because you guys have been doing the right things. You've been doing the social selling. You've been doing the curbside pickup. You haven't given up the ghost, so you're continuing to sell things, even if it's at a slower rate than normal. So yes, on those particular items that you're starting to run out of, and items that you know that you're going to need for either fourth quarter or for summer, you must start investing. Absolutely.
And even though you're working twice as hard to make half as much, and that's what, we got the same thing going here, but again, you're learning things. It's forcing you to do stuff. So
yeah,
that's great.
Stephanie has a great question.
Okay.
That I'm not sure we have an exact answer for, but she says, I'm starting to wonder about social distancing and how to make sure that happens when we are allowed to finally reopen, because the virus is still going to be around even after these restrictions get relaxed, and people are still going to be concerned about getting together in huge crowds. And So how, what are we going to do as store owners to make sure that people remain safe, and and how are we going to maintain social distancing when we do open? Do you have some thoughts about that?
Yeah, I do. And again, this is all entirely speculative, but my guess is when it starts to open, it's going to open very, very slowly. In that, not only is, it's not going to be like we're here in Michigan, we're in shelter in place. And Governor Whitmer is going to say, okay, it's all gone, and everybody's going to rush out and go to concerts and go to bars and things like that. I think that fundamentally, psychologically, we have all been changed. You watch television now and you see a bunch of people in the bar and you go, oh, they're so close to each other, right?
Don't touch each other.
So I think that what's going to happen is that there will be less foot traffic, at least until they come up with a way to test and until they come up with a vaccine. When they come up with a vaccine and everybody gets vaccinated, it'll all sort of slowly come back to normal. But I think to your question, Stephanie, I think what's going to happen is that it will naturally be slower because people aren't going to be as willing to go into public places. And I think that you're going to find, as a store, even as a small store, you're going to have relatively aggressive signage encouraging people to social distance. You're going to do things like you're going to have really, really stringent cleanliness protocols in place. You're going to communicate those protocols.
You're going to stop having people sign for credit card slips.
It's
not required. And it's just the passing of that pen, even in any time, is like, ew. But you don't need that.
So that's what's going to happen. But this is also why I'm so encouraged to see all this other thing. And I'm trying to come up with the right term. They have omni-channel retailing. This is really sort of an omni-experiential retailing. So Stephanie, your business is not to clientele, because you're going to have people who want to shop with you, and we know Stephanie, and we know that you've got great merchandise in a fun, funky store, and they're going to want to shop with you, but they may not want to come into the store on a Saturday because Saturday's the biggest shopping day. So you're going to do clienteling. It's all about who's going to be smart. What did Darwin say? It's not the strongest species that survive. It's the ones that adapt. And so, Stephanie, I'm speaking to you in particular. You will adapt. But all of these strategies that you're learning right now this is what I'm kind of trying to drive this home. All of these strategies need to remain in place when this is done, because people are not going to be as willing to go into a store, because touching things is going to there's going to be this visceral reaction. I remember when Susan worked at Macy's in downtown San Francisco and lived through the big earthquake.
Yeah, scary.
She was in an office with no windows and scary. And I remember you saying to me that it was several years before, when a plane took off, if she was on a plane, when the wheels left the ground, you felt a sense of relief.
A visceral reaction. Yeah, body reaction to being not on the ground anymore and feeling safer in the air than I did on the ground.
And it was because this traumatic experience, literally, in her reptilian brain.
This back here, okay. But wherever. Here, it's somewhere up in there.
In her reptilian brain, that fear remained, right? That trauma remained. And I think that that's going to be real for a lot of people, especially people who are compromised, who are, healthy. I'm 63.
Who got sick.
Who got sick, right? Exactly. And so I think that the nature of foot traffic is going to change. The nature of marketing is going to change. In fact, we're working on revamping the marketing mentor program right now, because we know that there's a
post-coronavirus marketing calendar plan for you guys.
Strategy. We all need to think about business differently, and that's why we're so honored to be able to sort of help lead this conversation, because there are going to be stores that don't make it. But there are going to be many, many, many stores that do make it. And the ones that do make it, there's going to be some collateral damage, as in people who are good, who should make it, won't for any number of reasons. But really, I think that most of the people who are, most of the people in our community who are really, really working hard to try new things, to do new things, are going to make it through. And as I've been saying all along in this community forum, not only are going to make it through, but are going to make it through and be in better shape. You are changing fundamentally in the way that you look at your business and at the way that you are doing business.
Yeah, it's great. So a couple more questions. Simone says, is it time?
Hi, Simone.
Is it time to start taking markdowns and just cashing out on our inventory, especially our seasonal clothing? Yes.
Well, so just a second.
Probably yes.
Well, yes and no. So if you take a markdown, you sell one thing at a lower margin. I loved what Maureen was doing.
Yeah, and you can do both.
You can do both, absolutely. But what I wanted to say is, I wanted to encourage you to think past. Markdowns is the only way to move merchandise.
Say one more time what Maureen was doing short.
Okay, she is creating boxes. So buy a box, give a box. A box is filled with clothing for someone, right? And so I don't know whether she does it by price point or how she does it. But, she creates a box for a customer. Susan buys a box. And so I send Susan a box full of beautiful clothes. But Susan gets to nominate a hero, somebody on the front lines, a nurse,
a
doctor, somebody at the
driver.
Publix, somebody who's working, a teacher, a hero. Let the customer pick the hero. So she gets a box, the hero gets the box.
Pretty cool. So that's a good way. It's like a 2-for-1 sales. Basically.
That's exactly what it is.
Basically what that is, right? So that's a good way to do it.
A 2-for-1 sale with a wonderful press release opportunity attached to it.
Exactly. Judy, should we be thinking about canceling fall orders? We are home decor and clothing and mandated to be closed. Well, Judy, first of all, I hope we aren't mandated to be closed all the way till the fall. I just can't even wrap my brain around that. But you may be slower in the fall. So it depends on, I would be looking at your open to buy plan and reevaluating your sales plan portion of your open to buy and see how that affects your open to buy plan for fall and adjust accordingly. There may be some categories that, home decor and like people might be spending more time at home. There may be certain categories that are going to be up. There may be other categories that are going to be down. So you need to reevaluate. And
I think that there's another dynamic in this too. I mean, again, so that question implied a pre-pandemic world, that you made an order or you canceled an order. Now I think that it's a different set of rules. I know that Management One this Thursday is doing a community forum on negotiating a webinar on negotiating with vendors, and they've got a lot of top people. In fact, Maureen is the only retailer on that. So if you go to management-one, that might be a value to you. Because here's the thing that I learned in one of the crises. I've been through 3 crises in my business, in my retail business, is shit flows uphill. So they always say it goes downhill, but shit flows uphill. So if you're having problems, your vendors are having problems, the manufacturers are having problems. So we tend to see our situation through the lens of our experience. When in actuality, what is happening at the store level is affecting people all along the chains. And when I say go uphill, I mean that way, all the way to the manufacturers. So when I'm saying that we're looking at it from a pre-pandemic perspective, it used to be you made an order or you canceled an order. Now there could be, there's lots and lots of variations. Talk to your vendors. Are they willing to give you stuff on consignment? How are they doing? I think that this is a time when appropriate, professional, proactive communication with your vendors will really, really help you in a way that it's never been able to help you before. And again, I really want to encourage you to listen to Management One's webinar.
Okay, a couple of other, so many great suggestions and questions. Linda asks, she wants to hear about Shop by Appointment. And on our website at whizbangtraining.com/coronavirus, there is that interview that Bob did with Maureen on clienteling. And what she's doing is she's doing shopping by appointment via like FaceTime. So one client and one salesperson on the phone doing FaceTime. One of the great programs that you can use to schedule those things is called Acuity.com, Acuity. And I will just pop that. Oh, that's the wrong. No, that's not how you spell it. So don't wait. Let me put the link to the actual thing. But it's a great scheduling program. It's the one Maureen uses. And Shop by Appointment has been really successful. I know that Misha Sato is on the call, and they booked like over 100 60 to 100, somewhere around in there, Shop by Appointment appointments in the last couple of weeks with her bead clients. So it's a really powerful way to sell one-on-one selling.
So, and it can be done virtually. Maureen was doing where her stylist will go into the customer's home and do a closet makeover. Again, if you do that, you have to be really, really careful about, social distancing and being careful about things like that. But you could also, if you don't want to have too many people in your store, you could say we're only open by appointment. I know there are lots of stores that, lots of areas that there are no restrictions, and that, again, several people mentioned that they were way up because of what is happening with the pandemic. But I'm just really, again, I'm just pounding it home because sometimes I'm the kind of person who needs to hear something about 10 times before I get it. Isn't that right, honey?
Yeah.
This whole idea of you're used to, the world has always been about getting your customers to come into your store and maybe a little bit of e-commerce on the side. The world has changed, baby. And so now we're saying, how can I get out to my customers? How can I meet them halfway? Where can I go? How can I do this whole thing? And the people who adapt and the people who are creative and the people who are willing to try are the people who are going to win.
So there's an interesting question. I got to scroll back up here and find it again about using Zoom. It was Samantha. Wants to know, can you use Zoom where you're having two-way calls and all the little boxes in the, you're looking at your computer screen. Can you use Zoom and do it as a Facebook Live? Well, Smith, I know for sure there's a way to do it because we share our screen all the time. Joe's looking at me like he knows the answer.
Yeah, but you gotta it takes some doing.
Yeah, but I think there are programs out there, and I'm gonna ask my friend David Lawrence. I think he uses one. So there are ways to do that, Samantha. That's a great question, and that might be my tip of the week tomorrow. You never know. So but you can do it, and wouldn't that be cool to be doing a Facebook Live while you're all on Zoom together? Super great idea. I know there are ways to do it. We share our screen on Facebook Live all the time, so there's got to be a way to do it easily, and I'm going to find out for you. There. So there. It's my mission.
All right, good. And don't you get Susan on a mission.
All right, that was a great one. Let's see here. Stephanie says thank you for all of your ideas about social distancing. Some people talking about the Zoom thing.
So there's Laura replying to Misha. Hey, Misha, I miss you. So here's something that I want to say. So what Susan and I are really starting to see is, there are some super, super, super smart people in this community. And I really hope that when this is all said and done, that some of you choose to apply for the Platinum Mastermind group. Because one of the things that, Susan and I, usually we have a once a month check-in, but we've been doing it every week since the pandemic started. And yeah, after yesterday's check-in, Susan and I are going, man, this group is so great, and they're supporting each other in such a deep and meaningful way, and they're so talented and so smart. And I hope that some of you choose to apply. You can't, not everybody's let in, but choose to apply, because it really is great.
Yeah.
And I know, just watching what some of you are doing makes me go, whoa, it's kind of
smart
like
people. You've
it's
got a
kind of
lot
like
to add.
when I heard Laura was walking around with a bottle of Prosecco showing people, oh, she'd be great for the Platinum Mastermind group.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
anyway.
Okay, a couple, here's an idea from Misha, and she says, thanks to Deborah Hanson Campbell, who's one of our Whizbang retailers, who's a very great retailer, for sharing a great idea to get rid of old merchandise. So this goes to your question, Simone. They've created a public Facebook group called, so an open like Whizbang Retailers is closed group. We have to let you in. But she's created an open group on Facebook called Blooming Boutique Outlet.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So it's her outlet store. It's her online outlet store. It's a brilliant idea.
Brilliant.
So, that's super easy to do.
How come we didn't think of that?
I don't know. So I had thought of the idea of putting them in an album, but I love the idea of creating an actual group. So
because just recognize that the world is filled. One of the things that a lot of new retailers don't understand is that sales shoppers are an important part of your ecosystem. Like if you have an aquarium, you want some bottom feeders, you want some suckers, right? They keep it clean. And, for a long time, I really disliked the sales shoppers at the Mackinac Kite Company. It's like, oh, man, the only time they're coming into my store is when things are at a deep discount. And then, it took me a while, but as it always does. But then I got smart and I realized, hey, these people might not be able to afford it at full price. They might be on a budget. Doesn't make any difference. I love them. They are in my store twice a year, spending a lot of money. They appreciate what we're doing. They're sending more people to us. So, that sales shopper is an important part of your customer base. And if you can create a place that they love to go and see and find the discounts, that is an absolutely fantastic idea. I love it.
yeah, Misha says, we have an awesome PMG group. I love it.
Oh, thank you, Misha.
So Joe just found the stuff on Zoom about how to share on Facebook Live, and I posted the link for you. So hopefully that helps. And now I don't have to go research it because Joe just did it for me. Thank you, Joe. He's giving me the thumbs up.
It's nice having smart kids.
It is. It sure is great. Matt says, we've been doing an outdoor kiosk that's self-serve, which is fantastic. Selling Signs of Hope, and it's been a huge success.
Great. Thank you.
Speaking of Signs of Hope, somebody just posted up in Whizbang Retailers today a picture of their windows. And they had hearts all over their windows with a huge sign that said, we miss you.
Yes.
To their customers. And I encourage you, we talked about this really the very first week of the coronavirus pandemic situation, we'll just call it, about using your windows. And if you've been too busy, if you haven't taken the moment to write a really big love letter inside your windows, now is a great time to do it. Let them know your website address. You put your phone number really big if, call if you need help or any of those things. You come up with a really great love letter to your community and put it up in your window. I think that's a good idea.
Great.
So, good.
All right. Anything else?
Cherie says I'm a bottom feeder.
Yeah.
when she goes wholesale shopping for her store.
Well, yes, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Perfect.
Well, and as a retailer, you're doing that too, yeah, right? So in LA with the Platinum Mastermind Group this year, we did the meeting in LA because a lot of people wanted to know the ins and outs of shopping the LA markets. And the LA markets are for people who are looking for that deep discount. So, you being a smart buyer, your customers are smart buyers. It's just part of the ecosystem of commerce that we all live in.
Yeah,
So,
I love it. So Matt, who just said he was doing that kiosk, he just posted a picture. He posted his Facebook page so we can all look at his
That's
kiosk.
great. Thank you, Matt.
He's his self-serve kiosk, so that's a great idea. So that's super awesome. There's a little thing that Joe sent me. Great. Kristen has a great question. How do you keep those discount bottom feeders from breeding like crazy and taking over your store? Well, you're hopefully
I was going to say, yeah.
part of what your challenge is to have really great buying strategies so that you don't have enough food for your bottom feeders to rapidly multiply. You want a few of them to come in and pick up the scraps that you've got left over. But, what you want to do is you want to buy correctly. You want to use an open to buy plan. You want to have great inventory management, assortment planning, so that you sell the vast majority of your stuff at full margin. But no matter what you do, you're always going to have some markdowns. So you just want those few bottom feeders to come in. If you put out too much food, you're going to have too many bottom feeders.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. And if you do, this is something that I learned the hard way. If you do too much discounting, your customers will start to wait you out. So it's a combination of, as Susan said, good buying. So you don't have to mark it down because it's not selling. And I was always afraid that if I had a promotion and didn't put a store-wide discount with it, that no one would come to my promotion. So I loved having promotions, so I'd have these promotions, 20% store-wide, while I just trained my customers to wait for the next promotion because they knew it wasn't going to wait too long. But then once I learned that I just need to make my promotions cool and fun and interesting enough that I didn't have to put that store-wide discount to it, and then it started to take care of itself. The other thing that happened was when I met Susan, the first thing she did was create a clearance table because, she was flushing it out regularly. And so there were people who only shopped the clearance table, but the clearance table was never very big because Susan was a great buyer.
Kathy Campbell says she's surviving by using appointment selling. We were talking about that a little bit ago. And then Kelly Larson asks about unemployment. And she had a question about how do you get them back? Well, now I want to go back up and find her exact question. It was a good one. Keep talking for a minute while I find Kelly's question. It's way back at the top up here.
I don't know what to say anymore, honey. I'm running out of words.
Oh, no, that's impossible.
So I do want to say something about this whole unemployment and getting people gone and getting people back and things like that. While you're looking for that, another benefit, I'm really starting to see the benefits to everybody from this thing. And another benefit of this whole pandemic is that people step up. Your employees step up, your customers step up, your vendors step up, and other people don't. And you're starting to see not who your friends are, that's not the right way to say it, but with your employees, let's face it, at a very real level, employment is transactional. You come to work for me, I'm going to give you $15 an hour, and that's the deal. But at its basis level, it's a transaction. But at a higher level, it's a relationship. And, and you're going to find out who's in it for the relationship and not just the transaction. And I'm convinced that if you use ADD, which we've talked about several times, ask, discuss, decide, if you bring your team members into the conversations about what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're getting through this, how can we do it better, that the people who participate, when this is over, you're going to have a culture that is so much better and so much stronger. You will have been, it's that whole in the trenches together mentality. You'll have that. And so, I don't know if that's going to apply to Kelly's unemployment question, but the other thing that's going to happen is that the people who are really just transactional are going to go away. Or if you have people who you've been trying to get rid of but just haven't found the time, or, a lot of businesses carry dead weight just because it's easier to carry dead weight than it is to fire them and to hire new people, that this is the perfect opportunity to release those people back into the industry, as our friends from Ascent Cycling say. So
thank you for that.
Thank you for that. Well, I use that a
lot.
We
love that.
Yeah.
We love it.
So
release them back into the industry.
So you're going to bring people back, and the people who you don't want to have back, you will release them back into the industry, and they can go work for your competitors.
Yeah, exactly. So I found Kelly's question.
Okay, great.
She says, I want to know about unemployment. How do we call people back? Who qualifies once we're open? Who will still qualify for unemployment once we open again? And where can we find that information? So a couple of things. First of all, unemployment varies state by state in the United States. So Michigan is different than California, is different than Maine, is different than Texas. Just to make it really tricky on everybody. All right. But in general, this is like the general outline of how it works. You apply to unemployment at your state unemployment agency, and you can go onto your state website and find that. So really the answer to your overall question is, where can I find that info? That is on your state unemployment website. So you can go to michigan.gov, for example, Kelly, and type in unemployment, and it'll tell you, give you a whole bunch of information about it. But in general, what happens is if your employee is completely laid off, or if they are underemployed, you can also get unemployment benefits if you are underemployed. So let's say normally you would have worked 40 hours, but during the pandemic, you're only working 10 hours. That 30 hours basically that is left is you're underemployed, and you can get unemployment compensation for that piece. Now, where that kicks in, again, varies state by state by state. You got to find that out for your own state. So if they're completely laid off and you start to bring them back in, what will happen is their unemployment benefit just gets smaller. So it depends on how much they make as a salary or wage, and how unemployed they are. Like, are they 100% unemployed? Are they, underemployed but still working a certain amount? They can earn up to a certain amount, which again varies state by state, before and still be eligible for unemployment benefits. So for the specifics in your own state, you have to check your state unemployment website. Was I clear?
I think you were.
So there you go.
In other words, we're not experts on employment law.
Well, it's like you'd have to know. I mean,
Yeah.
There's nobody that knows it for the whole entire country. You have to go state by state.
With all of these things, like the PPP and all of these governmental programs, we're trying our best to give you the best possible information coming from the best possible sources. But at the end of the day, it's still your responsibility to go, to talk to the SBA, to talk to your state unemployment office, because this is not our specialty. We know a lot about it, Susan in particular, but that does not make us the definitive source, especially since things are changing all the time.
Constantly changing. Constantly. Kathy says she's doing her first curbside pickup today. Good
Nice,
job.
Kathy. Good.
Great.
All right.
Da. Kathy loves this idea. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay, good. Well, I think we've really touched on a lot of good stuff. Stephanie says she has 3 very solid action items out of this call today. I'm super glad.
Yes, that's awesome.
I hope you all have some action items. Like, we gave you lots of ideas. It's your job now to turn them into action items and take action on those action items. Put them to work in your stores. These ideas, every single one that we talked about will work for some of you. So turn the ideas, the information into a plan of action and go out there and take that action. As Bob likes to say, information without action is merely entertainment. So
That's right.
we hope we're slightly entertaining, but what we really want is for you to take action.
Yes. So let's go back and talk about, other things very, very quickly just to wrap it up. So if, Whiz Bang Retailers, we are so grateful that community is growing and it's got so much great energy. But at the end of the day, if you just want our stuff in one place, you can go to, we call it our binge watch page. You can go to whizbangtraining.com/coronavirus. And you'll find all of the podcasts as videos, all of these community forums.
You can rewatch this one
You
from
can
today.
rewatch this one. You can also subscribe to the podcast as a podcast on all the major platforms. And the other thing that I wanted to share is that, and we haven't been sharing this just because everybody's been caught in the wave and going upside down, but all of our products and programs, we've lowered the price so that if you want to make an investment, there is a special price right now. So now might be the time to invest in the Retail Mastery System and dig into it when you have a little extra time. The Retail Sales Academy. I'm not trying to pitch it here, but I know that a lot of you have been thinking about investing in our products and programs, but have been holding off. But I just wanted to share that right now, they're all at special prices.
Yeah, we put them all on sale so that you guys could use them during this time if you wanted them.
That's right. So, good. And there's one other thing that I wanted to share. We are going to post the Quick Start Guide from the Retail Mastery System. Where are we going to post it?
Well, I'm going to post it in the Whiz Bang Retailers group. I'm going to post it on the Whiz Bang Training page. And we'll probably put a link to it also in the coronavirus binge watch page.
Right. And so one of the things that in this morning's podcast, I talked about fundamentals. It's time to start focusing on fundamentals so that when we get through this, which we will, that you're strong, you're ready to go, that the pieces are in place for you to really, really do great things. And one of the things that you get in the Quick Start Guide is an assessment. And it's a wonderful assessment. It'll really give you an opportunity. It's really eye-opening. I'm good at this. I need work at that. So, and of course, that's going to be absolutely no charge. And if you have the Retail Mastery System, you already have it. You've probably already gone through it. But if you don't have the Retail Mastery System, please download it and go through it, even if you have no intention of buying the Retail Mastery System, because it will show you opportunities. It will identify problems. It will help you on your road to being a better retailer.
Yep, I'm just posting Matt from Be Charmed. He put up a thing about his kiosk.
Okay, great. Thank you, Matt.
Here's his website. His signs of hope are great. They're absolutely adorable. I love it. People can order these signs and then come pick them up, on the honor system out
nice.
at a kiosk. So really, really cool. Very nice. I just posted that up for you too. So.
Okay, good. Wonderful. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for being so amazing. Susan and I feel so honored that we get a chance to serve you. We're just so pleased with everything that you're doing and the energy that you're putting out in the world. Independent retailers, we rock. We absolutely rock. And watch out, because when this is done and we're all through the other side, we are going to be a force to be reckoned with. You know, I think for a long time people thought of us independent retailers as, you know, like the fourth or fifth choice, like an afterthought, like a relic from the past. But I'm telling you, we're going to be back stronger than ever. My feeling is that top shelf independent brick and mortar retailers will become the first choice of discerning shoppers, and this pandemic is just that event that will show who we are and will force us to become what we need to be the number one choice. So
Love it.
that's my take on it.
Go get it. You're one day closer, people.
All
You're
right,
one
everybody.
Day closer.
So thank you so much again for being here. Is there anything that you want to say before it's all done, honey?
Amber says, do we use a third party to host our Facebook Lives? No, we're just going live right now. Got a camera, got a mic, going
But
live.
now, in fairness, we do have a couple of sons who are good at this. This is quality stuff. I mean,
We have
it's a
some
quality
nice,
setup.
some good technical gear, but we're not doing anything in particular.
Nope. All right, good. All right, everybody. Thanks again. See you later.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.